welcome back to another episode of Just Cop, an e-commerce podcast. I'm Kevin Deal, and you are...
And I'm Lauren Deal. On this podcast, we'll be talking about different topics pertaining to branding, web design, development, and business strategy for Black e-commerce businesses or any e-commerce business. Along with our commentary on current events in the tech world, our word of the week, and stories about products we just copped. So let's get into it.
Well, you got news that you should share with everybody about you getting the coronavirus vaccine.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't feel like that was...
You haven't turned green yet.
I didn't feel like that was podcast appropriate, but I did get the vaccine. I'm excited. I didn't really have many side effects. No flu-like symptoms. No
That's
headache.
great.
Just a really sore arm for like a day or two. Today it's a lot better. And I got it on Saturday, and this is Tuesday, so Monday.
It's Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Maybe I lost my memory a little bit.
Oh, no.
No, just joking. Okay, tech word of the week.
What is it?
Direct to consumer.
Nice. What does direct to consumer mean?
Direct to consumer refers to selling products directly to customers, bypassing any third-party retailers, wholesalers, or any other middleman. DTC brands are usually sold online only and specialize in a specific product category. Now that was Wikipedia's definition.
Oh, nice. Direct to consumer, so no middleman.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting it straight from the horse's mouth.
Who's the horse?
Is Amazon direct to consumer? Some stuff?
No, Amazon's third party.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Because they have wholesalers and stuff that sell products through Amazon.
Yeah, and you have to go through Amazon to sell whatever it is that you're selling.
So what is
usually they do the...
What is a direct to consumer company that I know?
So anybody who uses Shopify would be direct to consumer.
Right.
That's a version of that.
So it's direct to the source, and the source is packaging your product and mailing your product to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, there may be somebody they use for like shipping or logistics or something like that.
But that's not a middleman because they're not making a product.
Right, and they're not making a profit off the product. You're hiring for them for like a job or something to do.
To carry.
Yeah, like a subcontractor kind of thing, or vendor.
A vendor.
Versus somebody that you gotta split some money with. Now, Shopify you do because there are like fees associated with having your account, but it's different because most of the time you don't even know you're on a Shopify site when you're on it.
Right.
Amazon is a marketplace. You know you're on Amazon when you're on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the difference. If I wasn't online and I was at maybe like a farmer's market and I was selling from the farm to consumers, that's direct to consumer. Well, you can run an e-commerce business that isn't direct to consumer because you can have something that's business to business. You can, like we talked about, be a wholesaler.
Yeah, wholesaling shirts. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
That's just one example. And so you got to really determine what you want to do, what business you want to be in, who's your target audience. Is it
direct to consumer business is booming? That's why it's the tech word of the week.
I mean, e-commerce is booming, definitely. This is a great time to be in e-commerce. Just the amount of growth that e-commerce had during the quarantine is just the beginning of what it's going to be. And as time goes on, as technology advances, we will get more used to shopping online.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it will be easier for people to shop online. They'll feel more comfortable.
That's the plan, right? Make it easier.
Right, that's the plan. I think with every shop that is an e-commerce shop, the plan should be to make it easier for people to buy and for them to trust you. So trusting you makes it easier for them.
That's good. Yeah. Trust is good.
Yeah, so current events. Shopify is arming.
Talk about Shopify.
Shopify is arming rebels against Amazon. So what it was saying is pretty much what I was talking about earlier. Usually when you're on Shopify, you don't know you're on Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
Shopify has become the number 2 e-commerce platform.
Number 1 is Amazon.
Yeah. And so we haven't talked about this much on this show, but one of the issues with Amazon is that it's becoming a monopoly. It has power in a lot of different areas, and it just continues to grow its empire. And
right.
So when it becomes a monopoly, then it's almost hard or impossible for anybody to complete, and that eliminates small, mid-sized businesses, and that's not really beneficial for anybody to have absolute power in an industry. And so Shopify is kind of aiming
domination,
right, and Amazon is on its way. So Shopify is kind of arming the rebels of this revolution to say we want to take our shops into our own hands, and we don't want to use Amazon as a third party retailer for our merchandise. We want to be able to connect with our customers directly, be able to set our brand and our brand tone, be able to create a tribe through our site and through how we promote our products and the stories that we tell and those kinds of things. And I think that that's really important, especially when you're starting a small e-commerce business, to be able to grow those things, because there's so much competition on Amazon. I mean, there's competition out everywhere, but I think particularly on Amazon, it's hard to stand out. If you and somebody else sell a painting of Muhammad Ali, it's like, how do you promote yourself above that person? Because there's no branding.
Yeah, you can't
really
brand your page on Amazon.
Yeah, not but so much. I mean, they have like little stores set up where somebody, I guess, can go to your store and they can see all the products that you sell, but again, there's no branding. It's like a Etsy. It's just a list of your products and maybe a picture or two, and that's it. So, I think it's really hard. What are some thoughts about? What are some of your thoughts about Shopify?
I think
arming the rebels.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting title to even put on that article. It's like arming rebels. Like Shopify is ready to go to war, and I think it's honorable. To look out for, mom and pop shops, because coronavirus kind of killed a lot of those. And if you weren't able to make your space digital in 2020, a lot of those businesses failed. A lot of black businesses failed. I think a place like Shopify, putting a priority to try to combat the things that are the monopoly that's trying to take over the world, I think is honorable, and I support it.
You got a sticker. I support Shopify.
Stamp it.
Oh, that's cool. In other news, at the CES conference, which
what does that stand for?
I don't know, babe.
Google it. You got a computer right in front of you.
It's like it stands for something silly. We gotta redo that part over again. All right. Okay. I'm not sure what it stands for, but it says the Consumer Technology Association throws it every year.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's where all the emerging tech come out and show all the cool things that they're doing.
The techies gathering in one place.
Right, and show it all the cool technological advances, concepts, things that, they wish would happen. Yeah. So the new thing coming out is holograms, using your smartphones to be able to create holographic images, which is weird and cool at the same time. I don't know if I'm ready for that tech.
I think of Spy Kids.
Oh yeah.
And holograms and how they used to have to watch, and you flip your watch and it, boop, your mom or somebody pop up.
Yeah, I think that this is similar to that, because you won't need any glasses or equipment to see the hologram.
That's dope.
The phone should be able to do it. Now, I don't know how many years. I think they're still like 5 years into this development, so I think he still has some more time to go. But he was really aiming to get some smartphone companies, to go all in with this development idea with him. And I think if we are in the place of being able to see holograms with our smartphones, then we should be completely okay with vaccines being made in, a year or something. Because it's like the technology has to advance. And so if we're looking at holograms, next thing you know, we're flying.
Well, they had Tupac. Remember Tupac was at Coachella?
Yeah. I mean, I know that they have had holograms, but making it accessible to consumers.
Right.
I mean, we could talk to each other on FaceTime through our cell phones.
The Jetsons predicted that in the 70s.
Did they?
Yeah. They had the original FaceTime on the Jetsons.
The Jetsons had all the original tech that we're getting now. And so it's like, the idea of things taking a long time to do at this point shouldn't even really be an ideal that we hold tightly to, because it's just advancing so much. Especially when you have a lot of money behind anything.
Right.
That makes
there
everything
are people
speed
with
up.
a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
In the world of tech.
And for this vaccine.
And pharmaceuticals.
Right. One of the other things that happened was Hummer revealed more detail about their Hummer truck. And so, in the year of our Lord 2045, when you get your Hummer truck,
don't put 20 years on it.
You could give us your review.
It'll be here sooner than you think. My Hummer truck is coming.
Oh, okay. Did you get sponsored by Hummer?
Hummer. Holla at July 5. Holla at Just Copped.
Well, I hope you get your Hummer truck. But one of the things that was revealed was that the computer does a lot of the driving for you. And so if you're somebody who wants to be behind,
tear the road up. Right,
tearing the road up, you kind of are tearing it up from afar, because the computer is doing a lot of the work.
I don't like that.
Yeah. But there are a lot of other automobile companies who are putting their hat in the ring for these electric trucks, and they look more like trucks, and they let you drive like trucks.
I think that's the best part about the trucks, is because they're electric, right? You can get that old school look, like when Chevys was riding on Dubs, those big trucks. People stopped buying them because they couldn't afford the gas. They would guzzle gas, but now they're electric. It's like you can get that look, but it's also fuel efficient because there's a battery, and it's better for the air, and there's no pollution.
Yeah. Well, Tesla has their Cybertruck coming out.
And so, I don't know about the look of that, but it's cool.
Yeah. And so that's different. Like, that goes kind of against the truck look when we're used to having a bed in the back and those kinds of things. This is more like a armored vehicle Tesla's going for.
It kind of looks like an armored vehicle.
Yeah, but I think that, again, you have a little more ability to be in the driver's seat and take control than the Hummer truck. So you still want the Hummer truck? Probably not if the computer is doing the driving. Well, I'm not ready for iRobot or Independence Day. As much as I had to hear about this Hummer truck, now you gotta be all in. But that's why you're my wife, because I needed your input before I went and got it. Sure. Well, you need to at least get a Hummer keychain, because I heard about it entirely. I can do that. They got Hummer hats too. I can get. Okay, well, I'll get you a Hummer hat for Christmas, and then whenever the other trucks come out, then maybe you'll be excited about that. Bet. Yeah. So what's our hot topic today, babe? I feel like I've said all the topics. Oh, because I think you have a great mediator voice. A great host voice. But I can name this topic. Okay. Name it. The topic today is customer service as a business strategy. I think that has to be like Echo. Customer service as a business strategy. Yeah, it's important. Especially in a time of COVID, right? We're already on ease and on edge. We're on ease. On edge.
and we want to be at ease.
Yeah.
And if you're not trying to serve your customers, and in a digital age, I guess it's hard, but there are a lot of ways that you can have good customer service on the web.
Yeah. I think having good customer service creates trust, it creates safety, and it could also create a community, because once you give somebody really good service, then word of mouth, and they're telling somebody else about it and telling somebody else about it. I think one of the things that I have seen a lot of people do out of frustration, only because they don't have the tools or the information necessary to help them work through it. So I'm not blaming them, but I do see a lot of small businesses give PSAs.
Right.
These public service announcements to potential customers. Yeah. A professional cuss out. How they gonna speak their mind about how they don't like when people do this or people do that. And I think that is working against them in a lot of ways. And I think everybody needs a release. I think that, if you don't have people who are entrepreneurs that you can talk to, maybe finding groups of people, so you guys can share your frustrations. Yeah, right, together. But I don't think posting it on social media or on public platforms is the way to do it.
Yeah.
And I think about big companies. There are all types of ratchet videos about Walmart
and McDonald's.
In Walmart and McDonald's. You don't see Walmart and McDonald's posting PSAs on their social media.
Yo, bad kids at home, please.
Right. Or next time y'all call up here asking for our hours, y'all need to call the main line first. Like, they don't do that because they know that that's just not good customer service.
Right.
A lot of times people are asking the questions they're asking or doing the things that they're doing because you haven't made it clear to them what the expectation is.
Right. That's a good point right there.
Yeah. I think because someone may just be used to doing things how they do it. We all come from different walks of life. We all have learned how to communicate and talk to each other differently, find out information differently.
Yeah, especially
ask for what you need
on social media, where you are directly interacting with your customers,
right,
and your target audience. It's like it might cause people to be a little familiar with your business and who you are, and cause them to do something that you don't like, but was familiar for them, whereas they're not familiar with Walmart like that.
Yeah.
And so I think that
they don't have access to Walmart.
Right. They don't have that access to call HR, because when you call Walmart, you're going to have to wait and listen to that bad jazz music.
Sometimes they have some good music on there.
Yeah. But name a place, or the last place you went to where the customer service was like, oh, this is great, I'm going to tell somebody else.
Oh, I went to...
I have a place in mind, but I want to see if you say it too. Because then I know they're doing a really good job.
Oh, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say.
All right, well.
Okay, so I went to a social distance outside dinner.
Where?
At this place called Flannel in South Philly. And the general manager was our waiter, and the chef brought our food out, and it was amazing service. Like, the general manager, I couldn't even tell he was a general manager because he didn't act like pretentious or like, I'm the general manager, so you can't ask me questions, or I can only handle high level stuff. He was out, waiting the tables, talking to the customers, helping you out with whatever you need. He gave me a lot of great suggestions on things to eat, and he was so patient. He was really kind. The chef came out, asked how the food was, if you were enjoying it. It was amazing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
it was
plus too.
Really, really, really good. And they have like a lot of herbal teas too, and that was amazing. And it was a really good experience, not just the food, but also, them. And we called a few times before we went there because we wanted to make sure that they had outdoor dining.
Right.
Then we read that the kitchen closed at 8 and our reservation was for 7:30. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to be kicked out or anything like that. And I think we might have called for one other thing. And every time we called them, they were really cool about it. They were really nice, really helpful, and they never once were.
This girl is getting on our nerves.
Right. Or did you not read our social media website?
Right.
That I wanted to tell you about. I'll tell you about a situation that happened to me that was just very not customer service friendly.
Can I share my good and then share some bad experience?
Yeah, what's your
good? I think every time I go to Chick-fil-A, and I go to Chick-fil-A a lot, I'm impressed by the customer service every time. I think it's just the polite way in which they talk. It's like people don't really talk like that anymore in Philly. People telling me my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny to me. Because that's language of I'm here to serve you, and that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, the food is bomb, but that service too. I think this is what I think. The food, you can get good food a lot of places in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
But if the customer service bad, I don't really care about the food. If I gotta wait 3 hours for my meal,
mm-hmm.
if it's a lot of cussing and fighting going on every time I go pick up my food or something, or go to use your service, I probably am not going to frequent it as much as where I'm going to get served and treated like I am somebody.
Yeah. One of my bad experiences was from, I won't say the name of the place.
Shame.
Just because it was a black-owned business, and sometimes things happen, and so I don't want to necessarily give them a bad name or bad rep. But I'll just tell the story about what happened. So they were out of town, so they were doing a pop-up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they may have been on a tour doing pop-ups in different cities. And they were supposed to be having a pop-up at this restaurant that I've gone to a few times in West Philly.
Yeah.
So I didn't see any of the information. I just heard about it through a friend.
Yeah.
And that friend was like, "Oh, I'm going to go on this day. Do you want to come with me? And we'll go get this food." And so I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go." So it was about 4 of us. This is pre-COVID. 4 of us went, and when we got there, we knocked on the door because we were like, "Is it today? Like, what's happening?" And we knocked on the door, and when somebody finally came to the door, we asked them, "Is this the pop-up for the place?"
Such.
And they were like, "Yeah." And we were like, "Oh, we're here because we wanted to get some food." And they were like, do you not read? And I was like
stupid.
Like I was stupid. And I was like, first off, read what? Because I only heard about this through word of mouth.
Right.
So that was somebody telling me the wrong date because maybe they had read wrong.
Yeah.
But you can't always assume that people are coming to you because they saw your advertisement somewhere. It could be that they were a word of mouth referral.
Right, and now they didn't burn a potential customer.
And this place gets more and more popular every year, more and more media attention. I will never eat chicken. I will never taste anything that they have made or created because to me it was, and we all were visibly upset by the way that this person came at us of like, didn't you read, or can't you read, or you don't read, or whatever the statement was.
Right.
But about like, well, I posted this on social media and so you should have read it and read all the rules. And I think one of the issues with people in business is they take it so personally.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Because most people just treat their business like it's they're a little baby.
Yeah. And that's good, but it's like customer service should just be another thing that's working for you, and you shouldn't take it personally. If you have clearly set out standards of what you would do, you have operating hours, you have hours in which you'll get back to people, you have whatever, the process outlined somewhere on your website.
Oh yeah, this makes me think of old man that had the brunch spot and was mad women was in that joint twerking on the couches and stuff.
Oh, right. So if you have all of those things outlined and somebody doesn't do what it is, it doesn't follow the process, right? There's no need to be mad about it. You have options.
Right.
You can, 1, redirect them, Or two, you don't have an obligation to respond if somebody has done something out of process.
Right.
So if you say,
roll off your shoulder.
Right. If you say no DMs and somebody DMs you,
you can ignore that DM.
You can ignore it. And then I know some people will say, well, if I ignore it, then they'll say I ignored. But that's okay. Everybody doesn't have to be your customer.
Right. Everybody is not going to be your customer.
Everybody is not your customer.
Right.
And so if the person is operating outside of, sometimes you do have to educate your customer, which I think is important and you should take time to do, and you should do it often, because they're not going to know how to interact with you, or they're not going to know about the value that you add to them unless you really educate them on it.
Yeah.
That part I think is important. But if you've educated and you've done all those things and they're still not doing what you need them to do, it's okay to say, actually, this is probably somebody I don't want to work with.
Yeah.
And then just counting it as that. And that's not a personal thing, because it's business. And as a business owner, you can pick and choose the type of, if you're in client services, you can pick and choose the type of people that you want to work with.
Yeah.
If you are selling products, you can pick and choose who your target audience is going to be.
Yeah.
That is your decision to make based on what it is that you want to do, but you don't have to take it so personal when people don't do things the way you want them to do it.
Yeah, I think it's often usually a miscommunication. I think for places on the web, something helpful in customer service is a FAQ page where you lay out what it is that you think people are going to struggle with, or you want people to understand. And you post that on your website in a place where it's visible to do some of that education, right? But if somebody, I feel like reading is fundamental, and not everybody takes the time to read. So when you have an FAQ up and somebody asks you that very question that's on the FAQ, you could either point them there or just go ahead and, what does it really cost you to answer that question, other than some time, maybe?
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a high priority to, answer it if it's done out of the way in which you ask people to do it. It could be something that, you take 5 minutes at the end of your day or end of the week.
FAQ stands for frequently asked questions, by the way.
Yeah. And also, too, some people, they buy a product and then they call and they have an attitude and all those things. And so all you can do is try to come up with a process on how you'll handle returns. Definitely say a prayer. But how you're going to handle returns, how you're going to deal with those difficult clients. It also could be useful even if you don't, let's say, you do hair. And so you don't necessarily need a website to do hair, because you could post your hair pictures on Instagram, and then you can tell people this is your process for booking an appointment.
Yeah.
But if a lot of people are bucking that system and not using your process, then maybe it would do you some good to have a website.
Yeah.
And then you can have people schedule, or integration, like I know Vagero, I think it's called. You can be a stylist or an esthetician and book appointments through that.
There's a bunch of apps like that.
Right, there's a bunch of apps like that. And so it's like maybe you point somebody to a more formal process, so then it kind of brings them through the steps, versus you wanting them to know, learn, and remember the steps and how to do them so that you can handle them properly.
Right.
So I think it's important to know. I think if you have an email address, if you tell people to email you or something, you can put your frequently asked questions as your email responder.
Yeah.
So before, they could send out an email to you, and you can have all the things that people usually ask you and the answers to those questions, and it's an automatic responder when somebody emails you. Right. And that may answer the question for them. And if you know that answers the question, then you don't necessarily really have to get back to them, but to say, like, hopefully, this answer is in my FAQ. If you need any more clarification, let me know. But again, also too, it doesn't take anything to be patient and graceful with people. And I know it's not that simple in every single situation.
Right.
Some people are really hard to
That's
deal
because
with.
client services is hard. And, you're dealing with people all the time. It can be difficult.
Yeah, client services, but selling products is even more difficult because you don't really have control over who buys your product.
Right.
So it could be hard to navigate that, but I think it's important to note that building customer service policies into your business can help a lot. Also, having some type of like return policy on your website, some guarantees also helps with your conversions.
Right.
Because then people feel like if I don't like this product or I find something wrong or something comes back, then I'm not liable, to just chalk it as a purchase.
Yeah.
I can follow this policy and get my money back, or I can share my experience and get my money back, or find some other solution that's going to work. So I think just to kind of sum all of that up, it's a really good idea to have customer service built into your business. I think that especially in selling products, selling things, e-commerce, people have a hat that they can hang their hat on something. As far as policies are concerned, and it could setting your expectations throughout your site, communicating those with people, and letting them know how you work and how you do things is helpful.
I agree with you.
So, yeah.
I hope that people hear this and don't think like we are hating on people that or think people are bad, because it's like we understand that it can be frustrating answering the same 5 questions all day long. But I feel like what you were saying, like building trust, I think customer service goes a long way in that, and that's what gets your business to not only have a one-time buyer, but somebody to keep coming back, and that's where I think the money is at.
Yeah, once you have I think success, a lot of times, I mean, you can calculate success in all different ways, but in e-commerce, and depending on what you're selling in the e-commerce space, success is having return customers. It's like the business is cool when you can get a lot of new customers, but it's even better and even more established when you have return and repeat customers. Then you know that you're on the right path.
And you got a good product.
And you have a good product.
If you got a first time, last time customer, that's probably not a good sign.
Right. And so you should be monitoring that as well. But yeah, it's definitely hard, but think about how if you answer those questions for the meantime, even as annoying as it could be, you answer those questions, you provide people a good service, your business starts to grow, then you can hire somebody to answer those questions for you.
Yeah.
And then it's their job to, help you, assist you in the business, and assist you with responding to customers that you may not have the time to do.
Yeah. Hire somebody to operate a chatbot for you. You can do that.
Yeah.
I think chatbots are good customer service tools. But you do have to have somebody operating somewhat on the bot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other tricks.
I mean, you could have like keywords in the bot that trigger
certain
answers and responses. Yeah. But it's still good to have somebody look into what people are asking, what they're saying. Is the bot giving them the response that they are looking for to that answer? Because sometimes it could be useless if the bot isn't understanding.
I think if there's any issues on the web, a lot of it has to do with communication. So you might think like this is laid out in a way, but I think if you take the time to process what are the questions being asked and assess, am I addressing this the right way on my site or on social media, to make it clear for people.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to get into our Just Copped section of the podcast.
Giddy.
So, do you want to do yours first?
I can do mine first. I wish I had mine on person. One day on the podcast, I'm gonna come in my suit from and Lord forgive me if I don't get this name right, Damari Seville, like a Cadillac DeVille, Damari Seville. That's Malcolm Jenkins' suit company, and they do custom suits for men and women. And I guess I didn't really just cop, but I want to cop. And so when the pandy is over and people are back out in public and I have somewhere to go in a suit, and I want it to be a Damari Seville, and I'm trying to kill him, I'm gonna put on the Damari Seville suit.
So what is it that you like about these suits?
They're custom made, right? They're tailored, and they're just sharp suits. Like, it's a lot of guys that wear suits in professional sports. And if you can make a big 6-7 foot alien look good in a suit, you know it's a good suit, because them dudes are tall. They're really tall.
Like 7 foot alien.
Yeah, the NBA players. They got long arms, broad shoulders, but they wear the heck out of the Damari Seville suits.
Yeah.
So you know it's a good suit, and every time I see one, I'm like, man, I gotta get one of those.
Yeah. Well, I like the Damari Seville suits, and I like that they make them for women too. Because I like men's clothing.
that I know.
Because I have on your pants currently.
My sweatshirt too.
This is my sweatshirt. So one of the things I just copped, but I didn't just cop it for myself, so I don't have it with me, but I copped it as a Christmas present to one of my close friends.
Oh, so cool.
Is Oop nail polish, OOP nail polish, and it is nail polish that's colors are inspired by the African that's diaspora. And so when I think about that, I think of when I saw the colors, I realized that a lot of the hues went nicely with brown and black skin.
Nice.
And when I received the nail polish for my friend, I tried it on one of my fingers and it went on nicely. It wasn't thin. It was definitely like you probably need 2 coats, but it was just as pretty online as it was when I put it on.
That's cool.
I wanted to do my whole hand, but I didn't want to waste her gift. So I didn't, but it was really quality. It was, I like the way it applied, even maybe better than OPI or Essie. It dried quickly.
Are those other nail brands?
Yeah, those are like really popular nail polish brands. That they're even sold at drugstores.
Okay.
And it applied really well. The color was really nice, and it stayed for a really long time. And I didn't have on like a bottom coat or a top coat or anything to really protect it, but it stayed on my nails for at least 2 weeks without me, trying. Now that was lazy of me for not trying to take it off before then, but I really liked the color, so I was just rocking with my one nail. And I'm not really a nail polish wearer, but that one was worth it. It actually made me want to buy some, but for myself, but I'm trying to not get myself unnecessary things right now. So that's it for Just Cop Story Time.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Just Cop E-Commerce Podcast.
We'll talk to you later.
Later.